What's up, baby? This your boy Deontay Wilder, man. I wanna give a big shout out to all my fans at Chicken Talk.
In Minnesota, and Chicken Talk is the hottest thing going on for podcasts. Chicken Talk is the best ever. Chicken Talk, everybody knows about Chicken Talk anywhere around.
If you say shout out to Chicken Talk, let them know.
Shout out to Chicken Talk, man.
Yeah.
It's your boy Steph. I got Virgil here. So, hey, shout out to Chicken Talk on Twitter, man. Do your thing out there. Yeah, appreciate you, baby.
What's up? It's David Benavides here. I just want to give a shout out to Chicken Talk. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
MVO and Chicken Shop, how we doing? Hope all is well.
Know more about Nashville?
Yeah, I try to do that. Well, I gotta live here, so, so I do my best to ignore it.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, so
Yeah,
Brother Lefty, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
I just want to reiterate to you that I went 6 for 6 on my boxing picks yesterday.
Okay,
Six like parlay. Perhaps your audience on Jake and Lefty could have used that parlay advice because you did not even talk about those 6 fights yesterday.
Yeah, because I don't know. Okay, look,
Yeah.
we got a lot to cover today. We
Okay.
got a whole list. That's you see it say special extended edition.
Did you make a rundown, Lefty?
Yes.
So I could take today off.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Just making sure.
yeah. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
How you doing today,
Greetings
Jake?
and salutations.
Greetings and salutations,
Yeah,
man.
we had to do it right now because we are not monetized. The show last week made 5 cents.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Moving on up in this world.
Yeah.
All right, first thing, Tank Garcia.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't get this at all. So we're waiting for this official announcement. They've both been saying for weeks that the fight's happening April 15th. I don't know why it hasn't been announced yet. I don't know if there's still something held up on the Golden Boy Ryan Garcia ends, but it's just bizarre. Tank did what he had to do. He, obviously, as we reported, he pleaded guilty to 4 counts from the November 2020 hit and run case in Baltimore. His sentencing is going to be May 5th, which shouldn't affect plans for the April 15th show. But again, I don't know why we're stuck in a holding pattern. It's holding up. The announcement is also holding up Showtime's plans to reveal a schedule pretty much all the way through June, maybe even into early July.
Well, they released one fight today, Fundora and Mendoza.
Right. Fight. Yeah, we had that in the can, and then obviously got leaked out. And that's what's going to happen. Like, these dates are eventually going to get leaked out, and then Showtime's schedule is just going to be a recap of all the shit that's been reported. So, yes.
Jake, yes. I know you didn't say that ironically, but yes, that fight is in the can because it is trash. That is a trash fight.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about it, I know Hrgovic was rumored as the opponent for a while, so Mendoza is coming off a knockoff win over Bernardo Rosario, which, it probably won't age well in retrospect. But yeah, I'm with you. It's just not an impressive fight. But for Fundora, he was supposed to fight. Original plans called for Fundora to return, which would have been headlining next week's show. Got pushed back to April, then to May. And now he's basically swapping places with the Puello Rolly Romero fight, which is now going to be in May.
The Puello Rolly Romero is going to be in May?
That's going to be in May, headlining a Showtime card. Yeah.
I saw Oscar De La Hoya speaking on the Tank Garcia fight. I saw him do an interview yesterday. He said that it's just a lot of things, like with international rights and just a lot of paperwork that he was claiming. It was a lot of paperwork. What do you think it is?
Look, he's not wrong. They worked out a deal a long time ago, saying that they agreed to terms for what should be the only fight. Never mind the first fight. It's like they agreed to terms, just get the fucking fight in the ring already. It's just so frustrating. Like, all the stuff they're worrying about is like minute details for a rematch and who gets what rights. It's nonsensical, man. Look, they already agreed to, Showtime is going to, produce and distribute the pay-per-view. The DAZN is going to be permitted to carry the pay-per-view on its platform. Basically, you could purchase it through through them. The same way you could purchase it through payperview.com. But like, all the stuff that's holding up the actual fight that's going to take place is absurd. Because we are now 8 weeks out from this fight.
I'm sorry. And are we sure that it's happening April 15th?
I've been saying I'm skeptical of it, but it's the only date that's been mentioned. And it obviously can't push into May unless, like I said, Tank completely pulls a Floyd and tells the judge, well, I got this fight going on, so please don't put me in jail until, I get this out the way, like like Floyd did with Cotto 11 years ago, whatever it was. So if that's the only date that's in play, it's time to get him in the ring already. Get tickets on sale, let people book their flights, book their hotels. I just don't get it.
Venue? Is there a venue? Are they still talking about a Legion or maybe MGM? Or
I will say this: if April 15th holds up, it's going to take place in Las Vegas. So if you want to book a hotel on the Strip, like at the MGM or somewhere in that vicinity, you should be safe. Just make sure it's refundable.
I'm at the point now where I wonder if it's even worth it making these fights. I mean, to be honest with you, is it even worth it going through all that, going through all of this just to make a fight? Because it holds up everything else. Everything else gets switched around.
Yep.
And then you don't have enough time to prepare to actually go to the fight.
Yeah, I mean,
did Jake cut off, or is that just me?
Jake cut off.
See, I got to wear these wired headphones, and it keeps messing with my phone jack. So, anyway.
Now he sounds like Houdini.
All right, I'm going to figure this out.
Listen, if something's wrong with your wire jack, I told you guys, get a damn thumbtack and clean the port of your iPhone out.
I clean it every day. Okay. Look, I'm going to be honest, man. I'm at complete exhaustion in discussing this. It's, they wanted this big run up to this fight. We're not getting that anymore. It's like all this stuff about, waiting for the announcement has essentially been the promotion so far.
I mean, at what point do you just cut bait?
Ran into, damn it. That's, damn it. Sorry. I know, I'm struggling big time. That's the problem we ran into. Yeah, that's the problem we ran into with Spence Crawford. There was no deadline. It just lingered on and on and on. Like, these fights like this need a deadline. Like, I was glad that they went forward with Tank and Hector Garcia, at the point where they said, okay, look, we didn't work out the terms. We're going to get Tank back in the ring. Every fight needs this. They need a grown-up in the room at this point.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seems like at a certain point, it's just like, do you go with for short fights you can make, or do you just steadily try to do this stuff that seems like it never works out? I mean, I'm getting personally, I am getting a little what do you call it? Not depressed, but I'm having doubt if it happens.
I mean, this isn't the conversation we should be having about the fight that we all agree it's the biggest fight that can be made in the sport right now. This isn't the conversation that we should be having.
Yeah, it's a huge fight.
Yep.
There's a lot of implications. It's a huge fight for the American boxing scene moving forward also.
And I got to say this, for all the rumors that are going on with Showtime, and we keep trying to deflect, it's like, this is all the more reason why you should want to announce a fight like this.
Yeah.
This makes me, less confident of a brighter future. But here we are.
Yeah. All right. Another thing was Broner. AB.
Yeah.
Why is the boxing Illuminati trying to sabotage Adrian Broner?
Oh man! When I thought we were done with the egg weight era, now we're back here. I don't have the energy for this. So it's man, I don't know what to say. I'm glad this happened because I didn't want to have to come up with an excuse for why I wasn't going to be there next weekend. But they just, I don't get it.
It's the boxing Illuminati.
I don't see how. I mean, so Roy Jones would have to be in on the act that he supposedly got Michael Williams Jr. beat up in sparring just to make sure that he couldn't go through with this fight. I mean, there's just the conspiracy theories are out of control on this one. Yeah, I will say this. The only one I will apply to is, so the whole thing with Red Catch was messed up. That's an issue between him and Joey DeGuardia. And I don't know a fighter in the sport who hasn't had an issue with Joe DeGuardia. The Hank Lundy thing, I could see a little bit of a conspiracy there. I could see that, okay, once he was assigned as the opponent, I could see people jumping in and kind of raising a flag saying, hey, this guy's going to fight. In this show, he was supposed to fight in California. So if you want to have a conspiracy, I could maybe support that one. I just,
He was supposed to be the main event in that show.
Right, the show in Ontario, California, correct.
Yeah. See, the difference with him between him and Avanesian was number one, Avanesian was the promoter's
Right.
fighter,
Yep.
and he was fighting on the undercard. So basically, the promoter just basically had someone else pay him to fight.
Yep.
So he didn't have to foot the bill. With Hank Lundy, he was fighting on another promoter's undercard as the main event.
Correct.
So that promoter lost a card. So of course, when Lundy said he had a cut,
Yeah.
he's gonna report it to the commission.
Yeah. He did not handle that one properly at all. So
No, not at all.
yeah. So he did
They
put
could
himself in
just
this position.
paid him to put him on the card.
Right. But this whole conspiracy that just everyone's out to get Adrian Broner is just it's absurd.
Yeah.
So now they're talking about pushing this in April. I thought I heard April 29th suggested as a date, which is now you're going up against Virgil Ortiz and Amantes Stanionis. Honestly, there's no good date in April to put this show. I was having this discussion with someone else. There was a time and a place like to get all these novelty events, all these new promoters or whatever. I get it. The sport left that gap open where people can kind of come in and infiltrate. Like those days are kind of over, though. It's like this event never gained any traction whatsoever. Terrence Crawford is always going to be a big draw in Omaha, but that pay-per-view, it did what it did. Just the ticket sales for this one were awful. I mean, I think that venue only holds 5,000, and there were a lot of tickets left with a week out.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's just nobody cares.
So if they come back in April, it's not going to be the same opponent, right?
They said everything about it is to be announced. So because again, Michael Williams was the third option at this point. So maybe this gives them the chance to. But I don't know. It's like how good of an opponent do you want to get for this version of Adrian Broner?
Yeah.
And as bad as Michael Williams is, like Broner should beat him, but I can't say with great confidence that he beats anyone at this point. Like even the names that everyone was pushing for Michael Fox to jump in and help save the show. Like Michael Fox absolutely would have beaten him.
Yeah. Well, so what that purse they were offering on Facebook, that was a purse for Michael Williams Jr.
I don't know if that's what he was making, but that's certainly what they were offering for this fight. So
that's a lot of money for him. I see why his father's pissed off.
Right, exactly.
I mean, Spit Bucket did say that Roy wanted him pulled out of that.
Yeah,
fight.
I saw that was a good pull by them. And look, I mean, to Roy's point, if he was concerned about the kid, his defense or whatever, to get beat up in sparring like that, I mean, it's only going to get worse in the ring. I know Adrian, doesn't let his hands go with it. Well, really at any stage, but especially this stage. But he's just not a good fighter. So this was definitely a cash out opportunity that he lost.
Yeah, that's more money they could ever dream of seeing in a boxing game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a stroke of bad luck for AB.
Right.
No matter how much we root for him.
Yeah.
Now, what about another fight that's coming up on 8 weeks out? Fury versus Usyk.
Yeah. So obviously, ID Boxing. They always do great work out there. They had the latest poll that things are looking good for Wembley Stadium on April 29th. The Middle East is out, 100% out. I found it interesting. A good friend Eddie Hearn commented that the fight's not big enough to take place out there, which is why they passed on it. Not sure how much I believe that, but it's up to Fury at this point.
I mean, but Fury, if they passed on it, this is the part that didn't make no sense to me. Why would you take less money to fight in the UK if you were offered more money in the Middle East?
Right. I agree.
So maybe it wasn't as much as they were trying to make it
No,
seem.
not at all.
I don't see any boxers taking no pay cut just to host. Well, Canelo was taking a pay cut. Did you verify that?
I haven't verified. I know that's the rumor. I guess we'll know. I mean, the hunch is that his fight is going to wind up on DAZN as opposed to the DAZN pay-per-view. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that seems to factor into justifying their massive price increase. But we'll see. With Fury Usyk though, it's like I said this last week too. It's like I just find it bizarre. It's like we're at a point where we could get an undisputed champion, and I'm not sure the sport entirely cares. I know this is a huge fight in the UK, but I don't know if it doesn't seem like it's a big deal anywhere else. Like it's not dominating our timeline. That's for sure.
No, but it's a fight.
It's a significant fight, but it's just, I mean, to that point where it's just not this massive event. It really isn't. And I don't know if any fight with Fury at this point is going to be, especially if he's not allowed in the U.S.
I mean, unless it's AJ.
Yeah, we would have to get back to that point, obviously. But
Yeah, maybe after they both fight in April.
yeah,
they get it on in the summer.
yeah, I agree.
Even though Fury said he's past that, he's not past that.
No, he's not.
And AJ has to fight either Fury or Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
You can't miss both of those guys in your career.
No.
You got to fight one.
Exactly.
You just can't miss both.
Yep.
And the UK deserves a Fury versus AJ fight.
It does.
It'd be shameful if that never happened.
Yeah, that's an event that would stop us in our tracks.
Huh?
I said that is an event that would stop us in our tracks.
Yeah. And also, so besides Broner, besides Fury, Virgil Ortiz standing on is April 29th.
Correct. Yep. So that's 100.
When did the tickets go on sale?
That's coming up soon. They're still finalizing the undercard. I was told that we can expect an all Texas undercard. So Floyd Schofield is supposed to be on it. Marlon Esparza. I know they're trying to finalize terms for what should be a unification bout. Not quite sure of the fourth fight that would be part of the DAZN show, but it's going to be all Texas fighters on that card.
All right, because I called up there, and that young lady didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
She kept saying, "This is what game are you talking about?" I said, "Boxing is not a game. It's boxing."
Yeah.
Boxing? You mean like when you hit each other?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That type of boxing. She did not know what was going on, and I'm gonna call back again on Monday and see if they got any info updated since then.
Yeah, I just even the press release yesterday, like Golden Boy does kind of like a recap of all the stuff that's coming up, and they confirmed. I said this a week ago that the Ramirez-Rosado fight was going to wind up at the Walter Pyramid in Long Beach, and then on that same release, it said tickets available soon, or ticket announcement coming soon, something to that effect. So hopefully by next week we should be getting an update on that.
Any potential opponents for what's my man name? Munguia?
No, I don't even know of a date that's coming up from McGee. I did hear someone did rumor.
What about Triple G? Is that why he dropped the belt?
He would have to drop another belt if he wants to fight Munguia. The only way out of the Lara fight is if both sides agree to take separate fights, which obviously the WBA has proven they're not above that. So, but that would have to come from Lara.
I mean, is that what is anybody looking forward to seeing Lara versus Triple G like 8 years later?
Well, we brought this up on the show too. It's like if it's something that leads to Triple G joining PBC and signing like a 2 or 3 fight deal, then it becomes more interesting. As a standalone fight, no, it's not of any interest. I'm just not sure any fight with the Golovkin is at this point.
I mean, would y'all want to see Triple G versus Charlo at this point?
Look, Charlo said he's coming back to middleweight, so I mean, why not? But again, these are fights where the purse demands far exceed the public demands.
Lefty, I would just like
to... No, it's not this time yet. So is that why Triple G dropped the IBF?
He claims he did, but again, I've touched on it on the show. He's the one that pursued that. He had the opportunity to fight Lara, and he asked the IBF for that exception so he can go chase that mandatory. I guess he thought, I don't know if he could bring the fight to Kazakhstan or whatever, but that.
Now he's a network free agent, right?
He is, yeah.
So who's expected to bid on that fight?
Again, I think that's the reality he's running into. That without that support, nobody really cares about him at this stage. He was a massive. He was a massive. I mean, look, DAZN dumped a lot of money on him, and even with the third Canelo fight, which is supposed to be the payoff, it's like they certainly didn't get any kind of return on his career.
Yeah, that was a lot spent on that fight.
Yeah,
when you rake up both people's opponents leading up to it, that was a lot of money spent on that fight. But also the Showtime schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So are you sure it's coming out next week?
No, I thought it was coming out this week. So I don't know when it's coming out.
Another fight. Well, we don't really have to worry about this because it's kind of late.
Yep.
But Shakur and Loma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Loma and
Devin Haney.
What have you been hearing about that?
That's everything seems to be on course for May 20th. I know. I don't know how much it matters, but Top Rank and TGB both had a hold for May 20th at an MGM property. TGB's hold has dropped. Top Rank's hold has remained. So once that fight gets finalized, it does look like it's going to happen somewhere in Las Vegas.
May 20th.
May 20th. So which would be another pay-per-view on the schedule.
Did TGB put a hold for another date in Vegas?
If they had one, it wasn't approved. It wasn't mentioned during the most recent commission hearing.
Okay.
So that it was actually confirmed in the beginning that their hold was removed for May 20th, which essentially gave Top Rank the green light. So, and I know you're asking if that's where Spence and Thurman is going to land. But,
Yeah,
right.
I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Where that's landed.
Right. So that same commission hearing did reveal that
revealed that what?
That Michelle Rivera is under suspension still. It turned out he tested positive for 2 different banned substances, which is the equivalent of a water pill. It looked like his nutritionist. His version is that his nutritionist screwed him over. He thought he was taking vitamins and clean supplements, and it turned out to be, substances that help him cut weight that are on the water ban list. So he's probably looking at a 9-month suspension, but it's going to get tabled till at least next month.
Maybe he could get a countervans scientist to write a 240-page report.
Yeah. And that created kind of an interesting debate. And there are different levels of cheating, different levels of testing positive. I think this is the stuff that people don't understand about drug tests. It's like, we hear someone tested, oh my God, he's juiced to the gills, blah, blah, blah. I kind of believe him that, he was kind of screwed by his own team. But the unfortunate reality is that every athlete is responsible for what goes in their body.
That's true.
So he doesn't have a defense for that.
That's true.
Now you could rat out your nutrition. I've other people always said this too. It's like, why aren't these strength and conditioning coaches also suspended from the sport? Like they have free reign to do what they want. They always seem to go on discipline, but
like that Victor Conte. That grifter Victor Conte.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not alone.
But
I do understand what you're saying.
Speaking of heavyweights in IBF,
yeah,
Ruiz and Hrgovic.
Yeah, so right, the IBF, I think it was on January 9th, they ordered an interim title fight, and they did it based on the notion that both teams expressed interest in fighting for an interim title. Particularly Hrgovic, who knows he has a long wait to get to his own mandatory title shot. So the IBF was under the belief that Ruiz was equally as interested. So they contradicted their own rules once the 30-day period ended. With interim title fights, it's just the fight gets negotiated. If a fight doesn't happen, it's just supposed to drop off. That fight is no longer in play. The IBF made an exception to its own rule, claiming that because both sides were interested, they've now ordered a purse bid for the fight. I don't get the point of it, because if Ruiz doesn't go through with it, it's the same effect as just, eliminating the fight altogether. But they scheduled a purse bid for February 28th, which I found out was actually now moved up to Tuesday, February 23rd. I'm sorry, Thursday, February 23rd. So I don't expect Ruiz to go through with the fight.
Why don't you expect him to?
It just doesn't see. I think they were just trying to gauge interest to see if it was more lucrative than any other option they can come up with them, but particularly, a fight with Deontay Wilder, which doesn't seem to be anywhere nearly close to being done, because that fight is supposed to be a WBC eliminator. I just don't see a fight with Hrgovic being that much more attractive. I don't know. Maybe they just wait out the purse bid, and if there's some ridiculous, money placed on the fight, maybe they go through with it. But it doesn't sound like. I don't see Ruiz going through with the fight.
Yeah, me either.
I even more so than Golovkin. I mean, honestly, who cares about her? I never understood this massive push for Hrgovic to fight for the title. He showed even in his quote unquote win over Zhang Zhilei, he's not ready. Or maybe he's just as ready as he ever will be, which is to say that he's just not that good.
Put him in there with Martin McCauley.
That a lot of people have mentioned. I know McCauley did sign with boxers, so I don't know if that complicates things. They have done business together, but that's the fight that always made sense.
Everybody ducking at McCauley smoke.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep.
I'm trying to eat my lunch, guys. Sorry.
That's fine.
All right, and what else did we have discussed? What was the other subject? I can't read them out right now.
Jake Paul becoming a ranked WBC contender.
Yeah.
Right. So now the people where all the pearl clutches came out screaming. So the WBC, look, all the sanctioning bodies want to be in the Jake Paul business. I get it. But, and I pointed this out on Twitter too. It's for whoever wins is going to be placed in the top 40, which if you look at the guys that are from 16 through 40, I don't see anyone who's irreplaceable. And technically it is two undefeated fighters who are facing each other. I don't think either one of them should ever fight for a title, but neither one of them is going to be in position for a title. I actually interviewed Badu Jack this morning, who was fighting, as he views it, the main event of that same show, where he's fighting Junior Makabu for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship. He even said, he couldn't care less about who gets ranked because it's not like either one of them is going to be fighting for the title. And to his point, like Jake Paul should be worried if they do put him in the top 15 because that actually puts him in position to fight for a championship, which we know he's never going to do.
I just don't see the point. They've been coming out and saying
it. Look, I mean, Mauricio just said the quiet part out loud. That's all that took place this week.
I'm trying to get in the Jake Paul business.
Of course.
If he wins, will they award him a WBC?
I'm sure
top 40 belt.
Something. Yeah. the lineal 8-round champion.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Now, Jake, I know you're having financial issues.
Yes.
Like I said, we are monetized now, so I can send over half the earnings to help you pay for your DAZN subscription.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, look, I did that just to kind of gauge reaction. I think DAZN knew what they were in for when they, there's no way to justify this price increase. I just felt like it was my responsibility to just kind of put that out there. As a boxing reporter, I have to subscribe to DAZN, so it's not like I can say, well, screw you, I'm not going to, watch your network anymore. I'd be out of a job if I did that, but it's insane to go from $99 a year, but the people who were grandfathered in for the $99 a year rate to go to $149 and now to $225.
Do you get reimbursed by Boxing Scene, Jake?
I can claim it as an expense. No, this stuff costs me money. I don't even get reimbursed for my Showtime subscription.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's part of the job.
Well, you're moving to Paramount Plus, baby.
I guess we'll see. But it is outrageous that DAZN, that's why I put that out there. They're going to cost more than Disney, ESPN, Hulu, and Showtime combined.
Yeah, they tripping.
Yeah. So unless you're that hard into snooker and darts and all this other content, I just don't see the value in it. But
yeah, dude showed me what they show snooker and darts. First of all, don't be calling me no snooker because that sounds too close to nigger, okay? I don't even know what the fuck a snooker is, number one. Number two, I play darts at the bar. I want to see darts, I'll go to the bar.
But yeah.
I mean, like I said, you could throw pickleball. Pickleball is becoming, I'm telling y'all, in 3 years, I'm like talking about, let's just tell us about this pickleball. Pickleball is big business.
I heard that you were very good at darts when you were younger, Lefty. Is that true?
No, I wasn't much of a darts player.
Okay, just checking.
But my aunt was.
Oh, okay. Someone's a legend in your family.
Oh, yes. Yeah. My aunt was a very good dart player. You know, it's a co-ed sport, too. Women and men compete in darts.
All right. Can you stop eating?
They had a league. They had their own jackets and everything. We used to play at the Society of African American Police Club. Y'all know nothing about that.
No.
I always hung out with old people when I was young. I used to be like the only 19, 20-year-old in there with a bunch of 50, 60-year-olds looking for me a sugar mama. All right. Anything else we got to discuss, Jake?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we kind of lost the plot there. Well, obviously, we got, today's fights. Leigh Wood and Bronco Lara, which is a 50-50 fight in every way except for the actual odds. Most of the odds makers have Lara as a significant favorite. Quite a few people picking Leigh Wood, though, including my beloved co-host.
We all are riding Wood with Wood. We are on the Wood train.
Yeah. Yeah. The one overwhelming agreement seems to be that nobody sees this fight going anywhere near the championship round, so to speak. So I do expect it to end in 7 or less. Look, Mauricio Lara gets hit a lot, especially early.
Yes.
I don't I personally believe it's a 50-50 fight. I'm still kind of torn on who I think is going to win. I'm not discounting Leigh Wood's chances at all. And I don't know what to make of it. I find it weird. Like, I don't know, just Bronco, like the stuff he's willing to put in his body, just like watching him devour pizza and drink Coke after a weigh-in. I don't know why that just doesn't sit with me, right? But
He was trying to show. He was trying. Those mind games, deception.
yeah, I guess maybe there was water inside that Coke can.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the pizza wasn't pizza, which is a very great reality in England, I guess.
Okay, we will open up to questions. Anybody got
Yes.
questions? You can request to speak, and I'll add you. Go ahead, King P.
Greetings and salutations, Lefty, Jake. Greetings
Yes,
and
sir.
salutations. So I want to circle back to GGG versus Lara because I'm one of the 8 people that do care about that fight, especially in the division that is deader than Kelsey's nuts. So you can't tell me that I'm not going to care about it. So you know what? I want to know, when is the deadline for this order, and what are your percentage odds that you think it'll get made?
I just have it in my head Lara is going to wind up fighting someone like Danny Garcia. I think they're going to come to something similar with Leigh Wood and Leo Santa Cruz, that whole ordeal. I think we're going to get 2 separate fights out of that.
Okay, go ahead, Marshall.
Hey, Marshall.
Jake? How you doing, Lefty? I was just going to ask, Bob Arum was obviously talking about Taylor and Teofimo again. He was talking about where it take place. Is Taylor now allowed to travel to the US?
Top Rank seems to believe that that is a makeable fight in the US. That was pretty telling. That was like the first time I've ever heard anyone even mention that. So I guess he'll find out when he gets to the airport. But that's a fight that's very possible for the East Coast.
Why don't these people do a test run before they...
I asked everyone who is remotely linked, who used to be remotely linked to MTK, why not just go on a vacation?
And what's the answer do you get?
None. Nobody wants to speak to it.
I mean, because we don't even know who's allowed.
Right.
So because that list that they put out is, you can't even get it through Freedom of Information Act. Trust me, I tried.
Right.
And we don't even know who's allowed.
Yeah.
So, it would be smart to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they know something I don't know, but I don't know.
Right. But to Marshy's, to put a button on that, it's May 27th or June 3rd is the targeted time frame for that fight. So I know everybody laughed when, WBO ordered it. And I've said this too plenty of times on the show. The WBO is smart. They're going to order fights that they believe are actually going to happen. They're not just going to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. So they thought that, Ioka, that was another story that happened. Kazuto Ioka wound up giving up his WBO belt. They thought that fight with Nakatani was going to happen, but it was kind of win-win because they knew Nakatani would fight for the title anyway. But with Taylor and Teofimo Lopez, they weren't going to order that if they didn't think that fight had no shot at happening.
Well, I got a question. Disrupt Promotions. So does that mean that now the people from Pro Bellum are gone, that now they can work with Top Rank, or work with them, or what?
Well, we shall find out. So I had a story that's been on hold for a month, and it's probably just going to get scrapped altogether at this point. So I still don't know who from Pro Bellum is going to join this, whatever, Disrupt Boxing, Disrupt Promotions, whatever the hell they're called. I've been saying that, though. It's like, I never believed that, they thought, they believed that Kinahan ran Pro Bellum. That's why they weren't doing business with him. This is all about them fighting Richard Schaefer at every turn.
So
if Richard...
I got a question, Jake. With this Disrupt Promotions thing, do they have any fighters signed?
No.
So what exactly are they planning on doing? Is it going to be like Ring City?
I don't think it will be. I don't understand why the press release came out when it did. My understanding was that it was supposed to come out once everything was finalized, including whether people like Richard Schaefer was still going to stay on board, whatever fighters they had guaranteed, they were all going to be signed. Like, it was supposed to be an announcement from there. Like, even people within that universe don't know who's going to remain on board with what's left of Pro Bellum and who's going to become a free agent.
So they bought the company without the fighters?
They're buying the company. Nothing is even finalized yet. So this dude is going to be, he's running this company, but still there's terms that are still being worked out as like who from Pro Bellum is going to remain on board, like as a partner.
And did you see his hostage video?
Yes, I did.
Were you impressed that he did not allow anyone to comment under his video?
I watched it and just went on with my day. Yeah.
So, but when he does buy
Right.
the company, he'll get the boxers that signed to the company. Right?
So the story I was told was that, like, let's say I'm going to put a number that there's 75 fighters that are still with them. Maybe a third will remain on board. Like most of the promoters that they previously partnered up with, like they're all gone already. So I know like Lou DiBello, well, if he hasn't gotten back all of his fighters yet, he will. But yeah.
All right, I was just making sure that he wasn't just buying a name.
I don't get the point. I just don't understand why the company just didn't just crash and burn. But maybe, I guess, whatever legal ramifications.
For some reason, there's always somebody willing to waste money in boxing. For some reason, it's very strange. Go ahead, Ari.
Good morning, guys. Jake, I have a question. With the whole Rivera situation, was that like VADA testing? Was it ANSAC that did the testing, or WADA, or like
that was through the Nevada Commission? Yeah, Nevada, they do. Okay. They'll use like VADA or whoever else, but it wasn't like specifically contracted through VADA.
Yeah, it was a post-fight.
Correct. Thing. Yeah. To my knowledge, the only fight on that card that had specific VADA testing was Usyk and Vladimir Shishkin. And that's because Usyk had a failed test in the past. So there was no way he was moving forward without VADA testing.
And is any rumors of Adames versus J-Rock a thing? Or
I have heard that, yes. I just don't know when. So I know, well, let's just put it out there, because Breadman did an interview, I think it was with Tay Jones, and he even said that J-Rock is fighting for a major title in June. And so that puts it down to Adames or Jermall Charlo. But I've heard that it's going to be Adames and J-Rock.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you, Jake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Trill.
All right. First off, before I ask my question, I want to make a statement. I don't know what the hell this nigga Lefty talking about. I'm not riding no wood. I slang it, and let me get that out the way. Question: what do you think about the potential Regis, Prograis, and Catterall matchup? Do you think that's actually going to happen, or is that just one of those random matchups that's thrown out there that we gotta?
I have asked every single day about that fight ever since the Josh Taylor Catterall rematch fell apart. It's the only fight that makes sense for both of those guys. I know Catterall. I don't know if he announced it or Boxer announced it that he was going to wind up on the March 25th card that they're doing. So far, his name is not listed. Maybe it's because they don't have an opponent for that yet. Prograis needs a significant opponent. So that's a fight that gains traction. So, but I'm not getting again. It's just one of those things where I'm just not getting a straight answer from anyone involved. You got it.
Thank you.
I think that would be a perfect fight for March 25th, considering the whole feud between Prograis' team and Jose Ramirez's team.
Jake.
Yes, sir.
From the DM.
Who is
J-Ro wants to know.
Okay, all right.
Why the hell on earth do you believe that cheating ass Michelle Rivera? And also, do you believe that he ate edibles without knowing, since you believe everything this guy's saying?
I don't know what to make of the edible stuff. Look, I believe all that stuff happened. So I do believe, look, I do have sympathy. It's not with Rivera. It's with fighters in general. I have sympathy that they are at the mercy of their team. Some of them willingly cheat. Sometimes others just, look, we see in a promoter that they'll sign any contract that they want. So why wouldn't they, if they're a strength and conditioning coach is telling them, here, drink this cocktail, take this vitamin, whatever, why wouldn't they do that? Fighters make dumb decisions all the time. I'm not saying he should avoid punishment, though, either. So let's be clear about that. He's responsible for what happened, and he's going to have to deal with whatever the Nevada Commission sees fit.
Matt, so are you saying you're anti-edibles?
I'm not. Look, to each his own. But if it's going to get you in trouble in boxing, you probably shouldn't do
it. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Ari.
Yeah, and I just want to say something real quick. 11 months ago, when Broadway Joel interviewed Michelle Rivera, I was able to jump on and ask him specific, because I asked him, I was like, hey, how do you make sure that you stay on weight? How do you make sure you do this, you do that, whatever? Almost asking him about that, and he was like, no, I have a nutritionist. that, and I don't really put anything into my body unless they okay it and that. And I don't know. I just find it very interesting that, but whatever. At the end, like you said, at the end of the day, it's a fighter's responsibility to know what goes into their body, because they're the ones that are getting suspended. They're the ones getting the backlash. They're the one that getting all the shit. I don't do this.
I got it. So I'm going to bring this example up too. The thing I always appreciate about Deontay Wilder, especially when he was hardcore with doing VADA testing, he would get a bottle in his hand, call up whoever it was Dr. Goodman or someone at VADA, and ask them on the spot, can you please verify, that I could use this, whatever. And they have this app actually, scan it, and then you can see what's on the ban list and what's not. But he wouldn't take anything unless he absolutely knew it wasn't on a ban list. So you have to have that level. I mean, if you want to call it paranoia, so be it. But that's the measure you have to take when you're stepping into the ring. He totally understood that, he's responsible for, for his own actions. Every fighter needs to get on board with that.
Well, I guess they did. They didn't. They must not have scanned that water that Mark Breeden gave him in the corner.
Do we know? Because in some things I saw Michelle Rivera wear snack shorts or what. Is he a snack fighter? Like, do we know if he was on the snack fighter?
Most of the fighters from that gym have worked with snack, but that's not who he's blaming for this stuff.
Has Victor Conte said anything about
No, I'm not. No. I'm not blaming.
Man, look. Because a lot of y'all don't understand what snack is. Snack is not no fucking PED. Victor Conte ain't never been no PED. He ain't no fucking scientist. He's just a fucking drug dealer that didn't pay taxes. What he does is try to bully fighters into signing with his snack company by presenting himself with the help of a lot of people in boxing who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, presenting himself as an authority on PEDs, steroids, so forth and so on. So what he does is, if you're not signed with snack, he's going to hound you in the media with the help of a lot of people in the media about drug testing. Even though he don't know, I seen Keith Idek rip his ass apart, telling him Spence versus Usyk did have drug testing. He don't know shit. Stop putting this man on a level that he's not on. He don't know shit.
And Keith Idek don't know shit.
Basically what he's trying to do is strong arm Earl Spence and Usyk into signing with snack. So then he'll say nothing if you don't drug test or if you don't know he's a drug test. He's just a fucking grifter and a strong armor. That's it. He's a convicted tax cheat and drug dealer.
In his defense, we all cheated on taxes.
Oh, you a motherfucking lie. Don't put that shit on me, nigga.
This guy. You incriminating yourself.
This man, the guy who's on that level is like a memo who actually does have a science degree. You know what I'm saying? It's like Matt selling dope but don't know how to cook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just a short stopper, man. Buying $100 wholesales, trying to trap it out. Hey, I understand that though, and the funny thing is, Conte and Memo fucking hate each other. When I say hate each other, I've seen them go back and forth on the timeline before, so that shit is hilarious. But yes, all Conte is a marketer. He markets his product and then gets guys that write for his little blog who I'm not gonna mention no names, but they tend to hang out with like Jason Whitlock and shit and speak on the black community when they got no fucking authority or business doing so. But I just want to point that out.
King P?
Yeah, the only reason why I asked about if he's a snack fighter, because I thought that snack almost assured you that their shit was clean, right? That
come on, you don't believe that, do you?
I'm just asking. That's all I'm doing. Is that
they don't even spell snack right? So why would we
not only that? Not only that. Why is it? Hold on, real quick. Why is it he was caught by NSAC? Know what I mean? Why didn't Victor Conte, like he always does, insist on VADA testing? Come on, man. Like, y'all got to open up your eyes. This guy is a grifter like Lefty. So he is the biggest dope dealer in U.S. sports history. And how he was able to cozy up in boxing is beyond me. And the fact that he has people that back him.
It's not beyond me because it's his relationship with the former head of Nevada State Athletic Commission and his wife. And a lot of payola. That's how he was able to cozy up. Anyway, go ahead, 4-4.
Hey, Jake. I had a couple of matchroom questions. Who do you think that, I know it's early on, but who do you think is a possible, first opponent for Berlanga was my first question.
I think it's going to be someone, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's like a UK fighter that just, is perceived as good but isn't. But it's going to have to be someone beatable and sellable, because I'm sure it's going to be in New York.
Okay.
So,
do you think there's a higher chance of the cross promotion with Munguia now that he's on DAZN, or you think it's not going to be all
I think that
guys and then Canelo if he can get that
I
far?
do think that fight eventually happens. I don't see any realistic path to Canelo unless Canelo starts dumping belts. I'm going to be on record. I don't see Berlanga Canelo happening. I'm sure it will. I'm sure I'm being naive about it, but
Eddie Hearn was talking about going to Puerto Rico for the first fight. You think that's possible, or just not enough money over there to stage a fight?
I know Top Rank had talked about doing a show out there as well, so it just never materialized. Yeah, Berlanga does not come cheap. So,
all right, thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. Who's next? Who next?
Who wants to smoke?
Any potential opponent for Jermall Charlo? I'm hearing this. I mean, a lot of people want to know if it's Adonis.
You said Jamel or Jamal?
Jamal. It's true. He meant Jamal.
No, I have not heard of a potential opponent.
Oh yeah, that story with Kazakh style offering Conwell to fight.
His name came up, but again, I mean, look, Conwell. I think I figured if it was Abe Gonzalez or Lukey, Big Dog Lukey. But they confirmed it. He's a 154-pound fighter. If it was a fight that was mentioned, that was the end of it. He was just the name that came up. Because eventually, Kazakh style, if he doesn't get a voluntary defense, he's going to be ordered his mandatory. I did find it.
So what was the point? What was the point of announcing it? Because according to them, they had been turning the fight down for the money. He said it wasn't enough money to move up.
It wasn't even. I don't know why that's. Well, I do know why that story was. Look, everything has an agenda. It's a non-story that somehow became a story. The real story is Kazakh style has no opponent lined up for his next fight.
Well, he can fight Triple G.
The real story is when will you call out that bald-headed stooge Mike Coppinger for being a PR arm for Top Rank and always doing their goddamn bidding?
He is not. I will say he is. That is the relationship. That is not the relationship.
He is trying to rebuild something.
It's not with Top Rank. I can assure you that.
All right, so tell us what's happening, Jake.
I'm not telling you. No, that was your version, and I am screwed.
All right, DM.
Hold on. This is how we can tell. Does Mike sit with the press, or have they moved him to the
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
Yeah.
All right. Undisputed, you got a question?
Hey, how you guys doing? Jake, I just have a question. So obviously Wood and Lara are fighting tonight. I think Leigh Wood has, more to lose should he lose this fight, because I just don't see as many. He's older. There aren't as many pathways to, superstardom. He's already taken losses.
Right.
What do you think is next for the winner and the loser of this fight? I think if Leigh Wood loses, I think retirement is around the corner. But how do you think the winner, shapes up in terms of a path to undisputed at 126?
Yeah, that's an excellent point about Leigh Wood. I didn't even think about retirement being that close if he loses. I think there's still something to his name. I don't know if he'd bow out quite that quickly. I don't even know if look. Obviously, a win makes a fight with Josh Warrington that much more sellable. Especially with Warrington that doesn't have a title at the moment. But I do believe that that's going to be next for Leigh Wood with the win tonight. So as far as Lara, I mean, a third fight there is also sellable too. So Josh Warrington is a very viable player for a winner, I guess would be my shortest answer.
All right, yeah, Josh Warrington versus Leigh Wood would be a good next fight. They robbed Josh Warrington for Lopez.
It was a close fight. It was a close fight.
I can't believe they robbed him.
I was surprised that Lopez got the decision. I had it scored that way, but I was surprised that the judges. I thought they were fair, but
I was disappointed. But
again, that's I don't even look. A loss is damaging to Leigh Wood, but I think a fight with Josh Warrington could happen regardless. So it means more with the belt at stake, but I think it's going to sell well.
Okay. Now, what about we're hearing that Valdez is coming back, but he's not fighting Navarrete.
Right. So it looks like they're both going to take interim fights. There was a rumor that he's fighting Alberto Cortez, I don't believe that's going to be the fight that happens. So, but he is looking at sometime in May. I don't know if it's going to be its own main event or he's going to wind up on the Haney Lomachenko card. Obviously, we'll know more once Haney and Lomachenko gets finalized. But yeah, he's going to get a fight. Navarrete's going to get an interim fight, and then they'll probably meet later this year. Well, actually, I'll say 100. As long as they both win, they're 100% fight later this year.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Four Corner.
Hey, Jake. I was going to ask you about Ngannou and just his possible boxing possibility.
Yeah.
Is it only a possible Wilder fight? I mean, it seems like Fury and Joshua, obviously, they have plans unless Fury doesn't go with Usyk. Is that really it? I mean, it seems like he might have made a big mistake.
And look, if he comes to boxing, it's going to be go big or just not come at all. So that I don't have the energy to get involved in stuff like that, to be honest.
Yeah, he ain't doing no tune-up fights.
No, I don't think so.
Right. I would need to hear.
Heard...
I would need to hear that Wilder Ruiz is completely dead before I even entertain something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then, just in case Ryan and Tank don't happen, what do you think is next for Tank?
May 5th.
He'll fight somebody.
No, his sentencing is May 5th.
May 5th is the sentencing.
Oh, you think it's going to happen for sure May 5th?
Well, the sentencing date is May 5th. I'm not saying he's going.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to jail.
Sorry.
I'm saying he has to appear before the court again by then.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. All right. Thank you.
You got it.
Yeah, we're not. He won't have any fights in between. That's why it happened. It has to happen April.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, going back to all the more reason why it's ridiculous to worry about a rematch.
Yeah.
I was just so tired of it all, man.
But that's the good news. Is something new comes along. So once we bitch about this fight not happening, then Agent Brona being sabotaged, to whatever else we could drag in.
Do you think Ammo Williams fights somebody else other than
No.
Cash next, or he has to wait for Cash?
My understanding, I don't know if he's going to get an interim fight, but they are going to fight June 3rd. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Which seems risky since how easily Felix Cash gets marked up. And I know he's fighting on March 11th. So that seems like a very quick turnaround.
Yeah. One last question. This is my last one.
Oh, come on. No, I'm kidding.
I know. So, I mean, you followed Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
Based off her last fight, I know she would usually get some brawls, and I know Katie Taylor last time really, I feel like, she lost the fight. I got to think this is going to be like a just straight shootout, middle of the ring, Gotti Ward type. I mean, I can't, just where they're both at in their career, it seems like it's just going to be nothing. They're going to all come out looking like Erica Cruz.
Yeah, I can't see anything other than like a replica of what took place last April. And Gotti Ward is a great reference because it's going to be right around the 11-year anniversary of that fight, the first fight. So.
But do you think that's it for Amanda after this?
No, I think it'll be her only fight at lightweight. She's gonna win or lose. She's going back to featherweight, and she's going to spend the rest of her career there. Now, financially, she could do whatever she wants after May 20th, but she still has plenty of fight left in her. So, and she said she wants to defend her featherweight championship until she retires.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Got it.
All right, Undisputed, go ahead.
Yeah. So this week I've been seeing a lot of talk about Prograis and Catterall. Should I even invest any mental energy into that, or is it just much ado about nothing?
Yeah, I mentioned this to Trill earlier. It's the only fight that makes sense for both, but that doesn't mean we're going to get it. I still want to see if Catterall's March 25th date pans out. If so, then Prograis is right back to square one.
Oh, they can fight after March 25th.
They can, but Prograis still needs a fight in the meantime.
Yeah, when did he last?
November.
Fight?
When he beats Zepeda.
December.
November 26th.
Yeah. Oh yeah, November 26th. Yep.
Okay. Hopefully he gets something going, man. Because he's in limbo right now.
He could have fought AB next week.
Yeah, they should make that fight.
Let's not do that to AB, please.
I mean, shit. So what not? What was another one I had to ask you? Let's look through our list. Let's start. We did almost the whole list. There was another fight I had in mind. Go ahead, Ari. Let me think of the other fight I was thinking of.
Hey, Jake. Any news on what's going on with Pitbull Cruz?
So,
That's the one
once
I was
upon a
thinking of,
time,
Cruz
I
and De Los
heard there was a
Santos.
fight that he was going to fight De Los Santos. Depending on the room you believe, either Cruz is just going to go in a different direction altogether, or he wants more money for that fight. I will say once.
Pitbull Cruz was that supposed to be a main event or undisputed?
So when the fight was rumored, it was supposed to headline a Showtime card. I don't know the whole Showtime schedule, but I have not heard that fight mentioned as being part of any announcement that would come.
Pitbull his stock is just going down.
Yeah.
He don't sound like he really wants to fight unless it's
See, but
Tank.
here's the thing, like
He wants to go Pitbull wants to go the IBF title route. That's why he didn't. Well, that's why he said he didn't fight Shakur Stevenson, which made it silly that he even went the WBC route to begin with. So if he believes the IBF title is going to become available, maybe after Haney Lomachenko, he's going to want to fight Gustavo Lemos for the vacant title. So that's just the sad state we live in. That boxing is the path of least resistance.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you want to do that, you can still fight a live opponent. Can y'all
Exactly, fight a one body.
invite so I can add more people? Yeah, you can at least fight a live opponent.
And I'm going to say this: if you believe you're good enough to win a title, you should be running in the ring. I know De Los Santos looked the way he did against Jose Valenzuela, but someone on Pitbull's level should be extremely confident he would beat a prospect.
That's the problem. Pitbull doesn't believe in himself the way he wants us to think he does. His moves don't match what he says.
I would say he has.
I think it's who he's handling.
I think he has a greater sense of entitlement than is the. Well, maybe not him, but yeah, the people involved in his career.
Yeah. The Casemiro's manager, old manager, I should say. Yeah, ex-manager. Go ahead, Izzy.
Oh yeah. What's up, Jake? What's up, Lefty, man? The best show on Boxing Twitter.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question real quick, yeah? I'm not sure if you saw Deontay Wilder's comments. He made some comments today, like, "Oh, I'm an open agent, and I'll fight on any network." I'm wondering, like, the fight between AJ and Wilder. Do you reckon that fight can happen here, 2023?
You kind of break it up there. You were asking about Deontay and AJ?
Yeah, I was asking the fight between AJ and Wilder. Can that fight happen in 2023?
If it would, I would say the end of the year. I can't get my hopes up for that fight. But, to Lefty's point, AJ's at a point in his career, he has to make either a Fury fight happen or a Deontay. For as many people as he fought, it would be a travesty if he didn't fight either one of them.
Yeah, I feel you. Fair enough. Yep. Fair enough.
And maybe I think he might go for Fury in the summer if he beats Franklin. Personally, that's what I think. I'm not sure. All right, Marcy, go ahead.
Jake, I just wanted to ask. Obviously, you see DAZN have put their schedule out and stuff like that, and I just wanted to know if DAZN for Europe, if they're going to be picking up any of them cars from Japan or anything. Did you know? Has there been any talk to them picking up any of them cards?
So the cards, you mean like Fulton, Inoue, and...
Yeah, and Kenshiro and Gonzalez.
So Kenshiro and Gonzalez, that's absolutely going to... Well, okay, I'm going to put it this way. It's going to be on ESPN in the States. I know their motivation for picking up the Kenshiro Kaiguchi fight was that Kaiguchi was with Matchroom. So that gave Matchroom motivation to pick up the rights for around the world. I'm not going to say it's out, but it would, if they pick it up, it would be international rights.
So. Yeah.
When do we expect the announcement for Fulton and Inoue?
So again, going back to when I had the story on hold until I wrote it, I was told for whatever reason they were waiting out the Spence Thurman announcement at the time. I don't know if that's still the case, and I still don't understand the correlation between the two, unless they're both happening on the same day.
Yeah, but one would be happening like 7 in the morning. So
yeah,
I didn't even see the big issue for tonight. Go ahead, Marquis.
Thanks, guys. Hey, I'll make this quick. I just want to know anything of note on this Golden Boy card tonight.
Okay, yeah, I meant to touch on it earlier. So this is the WBC Eliminator, and the significance of it is that Hrgovic once upon a time was a WBA mandatory. And then I don't know how it got lost where he never got his title shot, but he was supposed to fight an Eliminator. He's no longer in that mix, and there is no WBA mandatory. MJ is fighting Tapales to satisfy the IBF mandatory. Stephen Fulton is fighting Inoue. as long as the WBC doesn't play games, the winner of tonight's fight should be challenging the winner of either Fulton Inoue or will get the undisputed. So there is a good pathway for there's a good future for tonight's winner. So yep.
Okay.
Do you know if Cool Boy has a rematch clause?
I don't. And I don't even know if it'd be cool. Oh, for the money he's getting, I would guess that Inoue would have a rematch clause. I mean, I get that Cool Boy's bringing the titles, but I don't know the intricacies to that degree.
All right, go ahead.
All right, cool.
What's up, everybody? Hey, we got Shakur Stevenson back in action April 8th. Any word on who Big Baby's
No,
gonna be
I have
fighting
not
yet?
heard any good opponents. I don't know if I mentioned this previously. I know when Johnny Rice beat Guido Vianello, they were looking at him. I just don't know if he feels like it's not worth it at this point, but I don't know how much money they're offering Big Baby opponents to where these guys just don't want to fight him. But I have not heard any good opponent yet.
Maybe Bulls could get on there for us with some possible opponents for Big Baby. He'll probably know who's some possible opponents are. All right, go ahead, Gritty.
What up, though, Left? What up,
What's
Jay?
up, Gritty?
Hey, I was reading an article. How much do you believe Jose Benavidez Sr.? He said after this Plant fight, they have 3 contracts ready with Charlo, Morel, and who was the other guy? Andre. You believe that at all?
I don't. I don't believe either guy has a firm fight set in place. This is way too risky for anything to be guaranteed beyond that. Yeah. And the problem too is that for when even like Morel and Charlo, when they're supposed to come back, that puts Benavidez on the shelf, unless he's absolutely going to fight Demetrius Andrade next.
Andrade is hurt.
Right. That was my understanding. I don't know to the extent of his injury, or even if it was an injury, or if it's just something soreness after the fight or whatever. But his name is not been mentioned as far as like what Showtime has planned coming up. I do know.
And Morel's supposed to be coming back soon. Right?
Soon is relative.
I think I heard Ronnie Shields say that on. He did say that on that War a Week radio. He did say that.
He will be fighting in the first half of 2023. Soon is relative, though.
Yep. All right. Go ahead, Trill.
Hey, you actually took my question about Fulton and Inoue, but I do want to ask about this heavyweight matchup that's been flying under the radar, which is Joe Joyce versus the legendary Big Bang Chang. Is there any updates on if that is actually happening? Because it's kind of gone radio
100% happening April 15th. And I want to say London. I don't know if it's exactly, but it's definitely in the UK, and it's going to be on ESPN Plus.
Did you call him Big Bang Zhang?
No, hell no. Come on, man. You know better than that.
Big Bangs. Yeah.
I was about to say.
And Michaela Mayer, I think Mike Rothstein reported this, but Michaela Mayer and Christina Lindarda too is the co-feature for that show. But yeah, that fight is 100% set for April 15th. So at least we have one confirmed event for April 15th.
Go ahead, King P.
All right, I got a question. But first of all, real quick, that whole Benavidez thing, I don't believe it. And even if it's true, somebody needs to tell David the same thing Crawford told his brother. Focus on his fight or he's not going to make it to his next fight first. So, but anyways, my question is, I know Puello and Rolly are going to fight. Does the winner have a mandatory that they need to fulfill? I can't remember off the top of my head if they do. Because I wanted to see if I want unifications at 140. So,
no, I agree with you 100%. So, look, if the WBA follows its own rules and its own written law, then yes, Ismael Barroso is supposed to be the mandatory. But he already stepped aside to allow this fight to happen. He originally stepped aside when he thought Puello was going to be fighting Gary Antoine Russell. So if he doesn't step aside again, he should be getting the mandatory. But, if he goes that Bachram route, then he could just collect checks and let the Puello Rolly winner fight whoever they want. And obviously with Matias and Ponce fighting next week, those guys need profile. So fighting each other definitely raises their profile.
Yeah, Taylor still has 2 belts.
Say that again?
Right? Taylor still holds
Josh
2
Taylor only has
belts, right?
one belt.
It's the WBO.
I thought he still had one more. So
Regis
you got
is
Reeses,
WBC.
Puello,
Yeah,
Taylor.
Ponce and Matias are fighting for the IBF next week. Yeah.
Oh.
And then Puello has the WBA.
I thought he was holding on to two belts.
Unless you want to count the lineal championship.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Unanimous.
Yeah. Earlier in the week, I heard Eddie Hearn make some comments saying that, should AJ be unsuccessful against Franklin, that his career is essentially over. One, do you agree with those comments? And two, how confident are we that AJ beats Franklin? Because I'm not entirely sure he can at the moment.
I'm trying not to be a big body language guy. I will say that everything I heard from him at the press conference, his head definitely seems to be in the right place. And I've always said, like, no matter what trainer he had in his corner, anything that had to be corrected is in between his ears. So it does seem like, for a guy who was rumored to always have to have a lot of yes men around him, he's stripped all that away. So with that, I do believe he should get past Jermaine Franklin. And then I still think we're going to get, unless there's a guarantee he can get either Fury or Wilder next, I think we're going to get the Dillian White rematch.
Nah.
I'm not saying I'm for it.
If he fights April 1st, if Fury fights April 29th, they should fight.
I agree.
Next. Especially if he knocks Franklin out of there. But he did sound like he was in a very good headspace at that.
If he completely buys into everything that Derek James teaches him, then I'm not gonna say he's all the way back, but I thought he made all the right adjustments in the Usyk rematch just up until it fell apart in the final 3 rounds. But up until that, I didn't think he looked that bad. But it's just mentally, it's just I think he's where he needs to be. He needed to be there in August, and he wasn't.
But yeah, of course, if he loses to Franklin, he's done. He said he'll be done at the world level.
I agree with that. Yeah, he's always going to be a draw. But I think the fight with Fury Wilder would always be there.
Yeah. Yep. Right. You got to get it on. Frank Martin, man, when is he coming back? Is he going to be in an Earl Spence anytime?
Whenever that fight is. I mean, that would be a good fit for him. I haven't heard his name mentioned. I'd have to imagine. Yeah, it's a shame because he is someone he earns another main event spot. But if he can get a high profile slot on Spence Thurman, that would be ideal for him as well.
Possible.
I have not, like I said, I haven't even heard his name mentioned for coming up.
I would think. Well, I would hope Pitbull. Maybe Pitbull will take that fight. Think enough money for him in that
not
fight?
at all.
No, he won't.
The only way I would see Pitbull taking that fight is if they told him, you will never again fight Tank unless you fight this guy. And they made that fight like an eliminator to fight Tank next.
So an ultimatum, basically.
Martin.
I said if Pitbull isn't willing, then that's a good fight. So De Los Santos seems like he's willing to fight anyone.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Because I know y'all forget and remember them as soon as the show is over.
Hey, Jake, the boxing schedule is pretty stacked, in my opinion, outside of waiting for the announcement for Davis Garcia. But I'm pretty happy with the way the first half of the boxing schedule is looking. What's the next event we can plan to see you at?
The next event. That's a good question. I'm definitely going to the Bam Rodriguez show April 8th in San Antonio. I'm going to be somewhere March 25th. I just haven't decided yet. And it just kind of depends on my future. Did I lose everyone? Oh, you guys
Is there any chance of tonight's fight going to a decision? Can anyone see the fight tonight going to a decision?
Are you talking about Wood Lara? Okay.
Wood Lara, because I don't see it going 12.
No. Well,
no, I'm saying
I'm
Wood
not
Lara.
saying there's no chance, but I don't see it.
Undisputed. What's your prediction so I can go the other way?
Well, I was going for Lara by 9th round TKO, although I was torn. It was difficult, but I just think Lara will have too much. But I mean, go ahead, go the other way. We'll see.
No, I agree. I agree with you, Undisputed. Fuck Wood. He's getting chopped and screwed
Too much
tonight.
what? Laura have too much what? Y'all know Laura has
Oh,
lots of defense style, right? And he gets hits a lot, and Wood can
No, I
crack him
know,
too.
but Wood can crack, and I do expect multiple knockdowns, but I just feel like the wear and tear on Wood, I think he's been in more wars, way more than Lara. I just think, Lara will have a bit too much for him.
Some guys, I mean, obviously a lot of fighters suffer from rust. I think, to your point, with all the wars that Wood has been in, having been out of the ring for 11 months, that might actually work to his benefit.
Yeah.
The longer the fight go, I feel like it favor Wood more.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be a cracker.
What'd you call me?
What time is that? Does that
I believe the main card starts 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British time.
Okay. Well, I got plenty of time to put Ray bets in.
Got to get on that Lefty Flick subscription.
Yep. Matter of fact, this is on what? Sky? Is this pay per view?
No, it's on
This is
DAZN.
on DAZN, right?
It's on DAZN.
On DAZN.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, DAZN has a day-night doubleheader for U.S. fans.
DAZN out here charging NFL Network prices.
Yeah, when does that begin? When are they going to start
March
charging?
18th.
I think next cycle. I think it's the next billing. Yeah, next
so
billing
if you
cycle.
haven't, if you haven't paid up by then March 18th, that price kicks in. I think for me it's in June. So.
Yeah. It's when your billing cycle ends, right?
So it's supposed to take. Yeah,
Whenever
it takes
your billing
effect
cycle
March
ends.
18th. So.
I saw somebody say if you buy a DAZN gift card at Target, you get it for that price. If you buy a $100 DAZN gift card at Target, you get the subscription for $100. Not 100% sure, but I've seen that going around for those of you that.
I have seen those orders canceled. So I've seen quite a few of those popping up. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. But Target, they cancel my. Target be on some bullshit sometimes. But
yeah. Speaking of which, if anyone lives anywhere near an American Signature, do not out of the shop there. So there's my little Karen rant.
Live
American Signature furniture store.
Yeah,
Fuck
I live
them.
near one of those.
They're dead to me.
No, Target sold me a Caesar salad without no Caesar. I opened the bag up and all it was lettuce. I was pissed.
If it was anyone else, I would.
Hey, that sounds good to me, love.
If it was anyone else, I would ask why you're buying Caesar salad at Target, but I know who I'm talking to.
Caesar salad with some anchovies.
You got a better shot at the gas station.
Wait, nigga, what?
Yeah, what? Ew.
Y'all ain't never had Caesar. Y'all have never been to a fancy restaurant. They put anchovies in your Caesar salad at fancy restaurants.
Oh God.
For real.
Tell them left they uncultured.
Yeah,
I do not want anchovies anywhere near my.
It is so good, y'all have to try it. It is very, very good. When that crisp lettuce hits them salty anchovies.
Lefty, do you put them on your pizza too?
No, I don't put anchovies on my pizza too much. I like anchovies though. I don't put them on my pizza. Where did that dude come from? Oh, he must went back down there. So, Jake, on a scale of 1 to 10 by next Wednesday, on a scale of 1 through 10, with 10 being the most likely, 1 being the least likely. Well, no, let's do scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the most likely, 1 being the least likely. These two fights to be announced: Fury versus Usyk and Ryan versus Tank by next Wednesday.
I'm gonna put Ryan Tank at 4.
4 as
so five
very
five
likely to be announced,
likely, right?
Yep.
So yes, I'm gonna put it at 4. Fury Usyk, I would say 2 by next Wednesday.
Well, they'll be 8 weeks out.
They will.
What about the likeliness of Spence Crawford being announced?
I don't think that'll be announced until Tank and Ryan is announced.
Y'all hear that?
Yeah, you missed what he said there, Jake. He said.
Oh,
Spence
I'm sorry.
Crawford.
I'm sorry.
I think that shit gets announced in like 2026.
Okay,
probably.
I'm sorry. That flew.
Come on, Lefty.
No, I am 100% beyond that fight. I've always said I never believe. Well, except for when they were at where they were last year, but prior to then and after all that fell apart, that fight will not happen at welterweight, and I don't think it'll ever happen.
If
I
it
don't think
even
it'll happen.
happens at all.
And I'm okay.
Same here.
I'm completely moved on with it.
Yeah, I've made peace with it.
I've moved on to it, and I know it's hard for a lot of y'all not to move on because you base your whole internet personality around Spence Crawford being a thing, and that's how you got your followers. And you don't really know boxing, so there ain't that shit else you could talk about but Spence versus Crawford. But I implore you to learn about the other sport, the other parts of the sport. Great fighters, you know. There's a lot of good boxing going on around here, but when you've been talking about Spence versus Crawford for 8 years, and you've been missing out on fucking fights like the rise of Inoue, the rise of Fulton, the motherfucking rise of Bivol, because all you could think of was Spence versus Crawford. That's why you didn't see this ass whooping by Bivol that was coming to Canelo. Okay.
All right, we got too many good fights on the calendar right now to be still talking
I
about
think
that shit.
2023 might even be a better year for boxing than 2022.
Well, the first half so far, but we need that Ryan versus Tank announcement. This is a big deal for the future of
I
American
believe that
boxing.
will
If
actually
we
happen.
don't get Ryan versus Tank, there's no big fight in American boxing this year. Because there's no bigger fight than Ryan versus Tank. No,
I
listen to
believe
what
that
I'm
will
saying.
happen.
Unless you can somehow get what would be a bigger fight than Ryan versus Tank in America?
Can't think of any.
Wilder, AJ?
Charlo, Canelo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Charlo Canelo.
Bro, y'all,
That's not
Charlo
about to happen.
Canelo?
If it happened, though,
Crawford Spence is more likely than that. That's not about to
I
happen.
always say, look,
No, I'm not talking about likelihood of happening. I'm talking about the bigger fight. Charlo Canelo is nowhere near.
and even if Crawford Spence happened, I've always said
I
Ryan
think
and
that
Tank was
huge numbers
than Crawford Spence personally.
I don't think there's no bigger.
I agree.
I don't think there's no bigger fight right now. For real. I can't even think of that for real.
That's
But
what I'm
I got a
saying. That's why
question.
we got to get.
But I believe
That's
that
why it
one
has
will
to get across.
happen.
It has to get across the finish line, man. It is unacceptable if this fight don't happen. It's gonna fuck up American boxing. It's gonna set it back. I ain't gonna say set it back. Well, it will. I ain't gonna say set it back, but it's like we don't have any other big fights.
That's a
And let's just
disappointment.
emphasize too, we're talking about a fight that 3 months ago was announced as a done deal. So that's even more embarrassing if it doesn't happen. But I'm
done deal doesn't mean done
No, it
deal
doesn't.
in boxing.
Where is this calendar y'all talking about? Like, did I miss something? Like, what? Or y'all
What
talking
kind?
about shit that came out over the weeks?
Over the weeks,
We just talking about the
I posted
scheduled
all the
fights.
fights on my account.
Yeah, we're not talking about one company's schedule. We're talking about overall in college.
Overall, okay.
I mean, you got a good card tonight, this afternoon.
No, I thought a Showtime calendar popped up somewhere or something. Like I thought
Not
that's
yet.
what I was talking about. But overall, whatever.
No.
Are you guys excited for Harrison Zoo? I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that's another good fight. But look, we had to talk about that on the show because we're about to end the news portion, so I can upload it to YouTube. So anybody got anything else? Anybody going once?
No.
Twice?
As far as what question?
Yes, and we are out. I don't know what Jake is doing. Sound like he's jogging in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Playing chicken with the cars.
Yeah.
It's time close.
I'm not walking away from traffic. Yeah.
Okay. And if you listen on the YouTube portion, like, subscribe, share, and Ray, hit the notification bell so you won't miss the show.
Ray, what are we getting announced during NBA All-Star Weekend?
Ray don't know. Ray steady sending over more motherfucking bets. He don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the betting show is live and it's up from yesterday. We're 0-1 right now, but today is the big day to make the money. So
all right, thanks.
Yeah, take it easy.
Peace.